Hello and welcome to Ben Television News. I am Kiru Obuli. First, the highlights. Nigerian Senate rejects the removal of fuel subsidy. Resource control tears National Conference apart. Nigerian government sources for 45 billion naira to pay petroleum subsidy claims as National Film and Video Censors Board finally approves public viewing of Half of a Yellow Sun. Now the news. The Nigerian Senate has kicked against the removal of petroleum subsidy. This was the outcome of the Senate committee report on the alleged missing funds from the Federation account. A cross-section of the senators, while deliberating on the report, said petroleum subsidy must be retained. Delegates at the ongoing national conference are divided on issues relating to the modalities to be adopted in implementing the recommendations of conference and recommendations of Committee on Devolution of Power and Resource Control. Some of the delegates advocate that the report should be subjected to a referendum, while others believe it is not the duty of the conference to decide on it. The report.
We will not take it. We will not take it. It will never be accepted. We will not take it. You want them saying no. It will not be accepted. What did you give?
Amidst protests at the conference, the leaders of 6 geopolitical zones who deliberated on the controversial issue on resource control and power devolution, recommended that 13% derivation be increased to 18%, while another 5% should be reserved for the development of solid minerals in the country. The recommendation drew the anger of delegates from South, who said recommendations would not be allowed to scale through.
Our final report, when ready, was sent to Mr. President, who should, as a matter of urgency, set up a task force to implement those recommendations that can be executed or carried out by Executive Field. Those are policy issues.
The Nigerian people are yearning for a brand new constitution. A constitution that is untouched on us. A constitution that is homegrown. A constitution that derives its legitimacy, its believability, its acceptability, its autonomy, its everything from the people of Nigeria.
The EDA committee was asked to meet again by the leadership of the conference to come up with a better resolution that will be accepted by the majority. After some hours of the meeting by the elders, there was no resolution reached. The conference chairman, Justice Idris Kutuji, resolved to meet with 15-man committee during the week to know how best the issue would be resolved. Some delegates react.
So nobody is talking about how to help the Southeast people who bore the brunt of the Civil War. They destroyed all our properties everywhere, and they're not talking about reconstruction in the Southeast. So we don't accept it.
It used to be 13%. Northerners don't agree. They don't agree. Look, everybody is hinging on oil. There are so many minerals in the whole federation.
I have a lot of Northerners that want justice to prevail. You know, because the issue here is not North and South. The issue here is the environment and the inhabitants of the environment. You know, we have a region that has been sustaining this country for a long time now, and justice just demands that they should leave.
From Abuja, LM Chukwemeka report for Ben TV News.
The Department of State Security Service has arrested 2 kidnapping syndicate groups which are alleged to have kidnapped an uncle to President Goodluck Jonathan at Otoke community of Bayelsa State. One of the groups was said to be behind the kidnap of 2 sisters in Abuja, the Nigerian capital. Parading the suspects at the service headquarters in Abuja, the spokeswoman of the organization, Marilyn Oga, said the suspects were arrested at various locations across the country.
Investigation into the incident eventually led to the arrest of the following persons in Bayelsa, Delta, and Edo states. Eldred Magnus Jonah, Raphael Inengesi, aka Abobo, Ibiabuchi Inya, Oreva Abridi, Tammy Tamaraya Priye, Felix Onuoha, Isaac Echie, and Ikechukwu Uzoma Okonkwo. Profile of the suspects.
Nigerians have been advised to be always careful while handling blood and blood-related cases, as not to be exposed to hepatitis B or C infections that have become a major problem in the world today. Honorable Minister of Health, Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu, said this in Abuja while declaring open a technical working committee meeting of stakeholders on the development of policies and guidelines for viral hepatitis in Nigeria. Our correspondent Festus Fifen completes the report.
Represented by the Director of Public Health in the Federal Ministry of Health, Dr. Bridget Okoegwali, the minister said the purpose of developing the policy is to make sure that everybody is at the same level to implement the policy on hepatitis, which is mostly transferred from one person to another through blood contact.
Yes, I think the level of awareness is okay, but you know, it is always there. You may be aware, but it's always good to remind you all the time so that you are conscious. Everybody knows that if you play with blood, so many things can be transmitted with blood, like HIV/AIDS. You know, it's not only HIV/AIDS, hepatitis is one of them. We should follow the rules, the guidelines, everything they teach us. The simple hygiene we talk about preventing cholera. Wash your hand before you eat, wash your vegetables, especially now that it's fasting period. A lot of our people are eating vegetables, taking fruits. Wash them very well before you eat them. These are all what we are trying to do, you know, in developing policies like this, like also that of hepatitis.
One of the resource persons from Kenya, Dr. Shafik Esaji, who gave an overview on hepatitis infection, said it is a global problem and about 175 million people are infected with the disease worldwide, with about 500,000 dying of the disease every year, which is mostly due to liver failure or liver cancer.
And it's great to be in Nigeria and to be discussing with a technical group, which is actually the first technical group meeting of its kind on the African continent. Nigeria is the first country that's beginning to think about how to start rolling out a program in the country for Nigerian citizens to enable them to access these kinds of treatment and services. But at the same time, Nigeria's health systems are challenged by the fact that, you know, there are multiple different levels within the health system. There's the federal health system, there's state health facilities. So there's a lot that needs to happen to enable federal and state facilities to be able to create and support a program of this nature. But it's very good that the discussion is beginning to happen.
On the affordability and the cost of treatment for hepatitis cases, Dr. Shafik said it is still above the reach of an average Nigerian.
I would say that very few individuals in Nigeria today would be able to afford the treatment on their own. Even the most, the best negotiated price for a treatment today in Nigeria would be in excess of $1,200 to $1,400 for the treatment course. And remember that many people with hepatitis C feel fine. So you're asking people to invest in a treatment when they actually feel fine. It's a lot of money to expect somebody to pay for a treatment which they don't feel they need at this time.
Professor Olusegun Ojo, a professor of pathology from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, who is also a member of the committee, noted that hepatitis is a silent killer that needs to be taken seriously.
Of course, viral hepatitis is inflammation of the liver by viruses, and there are many viruses that could inflame the liver, but the most important in Nigeria is the hepatitis B virus. This is a very common infection, Many people it is silent, but it has consequences for the long term in that most of them will develop what we know as chronic liver disease, the most severe of which is liver cancer. And this meeting is about government, formulating policies and guidelines that would affect the distribution of resources so that this disease can be effectively brought under control in Nigeria.
The meeting was well attended by stakeholders in the disease control sector in Nigeria. From Abuja, I am Festus Fifen for Ben Television News.
The main entry point leading to the National Assembly complex in Abuja, the Nigerian capital city, was temporarily shut down as members of Nigerian Union of Pensioners besieged the gate in protest over non-payments of pension arrears.
Some grievances we have, particularly the non-payment of 53.4% increase in pension. It is in the constitution that every 5 years, pension should be increased, or whenever workers' wages are increased.
We are here at the invitation of the National Assembly on an address on the stakeholders on pensions.
So we are here for our 53.4%. They have promised us since that they will implement it, but we've not seen anything.
We'll take a short break now. When we return, the federal government searches for funds to pay fuel subsidy claims. That will be in business news. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The Federal Ministry of Finance said it was currently processing for payment of the latest batch of subsidy claims to petroleum marketers, totaling another 45 billion naira. The special advisor to the Minister of Finance on Media, Mr. Paul Mwabuiku, said the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation also confirmed that some marketers who submitted letters of indemnity have already received their payments. Mr. Mwabuiku said submission of letters of indemnity was an additional requirement for payment following the demands by banks that financed imports by some marketers. The OAGF, he said, had established a new payment procedure to ensure that the federal government was not held liable in events of any litigation between these banks and their marketer customers. In March 2014, Mrs. Okonjo Iweala had said that the federal government paid 41 billion naira to 27 marketers whose claim had been verified for subsidy reimbursement. After 4 months of delay, Nigerian movie Half of a Yellow Sun can now be watched at Nigerian cinemas. The National Film and Video Censors Board, in a statement in Abuja, said the film had been approved for viewership in Nigeria and is rated 18. The movie was approved along with 76 other movies. The movie, which stars Hollywood star Chiwetel Ejiofor, Tandy Newton, as well as Onyeka Onwenu, O.C. Ukeje, and Genevieve Naji, is based on the novel of the same name by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And in sports news, FIFA has rejected Uruguay and Liverpool striker Luis Suarez's appeal against a 4-month ban from all football-related activities for biting Italy's Giorgio Chiellini. Suarez was also banned for 9 international matches after the incident at the World Cup in Brazil. The Uruguayan FA have described FIFA's ruling as an excessive decision for which there was not enough evidence. Suarez can now make a further appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sports. Also, football's world governing body FIFA has finally made good its threats to sanction Nigeria following controversy rocking Nigerian Football Federation. The world governing body had, in a letter dated July 4, 2014, demanded for the immediate reinstatement of the ousted Aminu Megari-led board of the Nigerian Football Federation which was removed by the NFF Congress, backed by the Minister of Sport, Tamuno Denagogo, who said he acted in line with an order from a high court in Jos. FIFA has disapproved of the appointment of Lawrence Katkin and acts as acting Secretary General of the Federation and refused to recognize the emergency extraordinary meeting, which it said it was organized contrary to the NFF status, as an elective Congress was already due on 26 August 2014. That's the much we can take on Ben Television News. I am Kiru Omuli. Thanks for watching.